It was like the case for me. I was evaluating a man with a truck. I was looking for, the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, the threats. And if you dismantle something that is a foundational, that could really, really mess you up.
Welcome back to Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmon's Moving and Storage located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. But we ain't here today. We are in Nashville, Tennessee at the ATA Moving and Storage Conference 2025. It is day 2, and we are excited to sit down with Gloria Pugh from
Amwatt Moving, Warehousing, Storage from Tallahassee, Florida.
I love it. I love it because you don't actually spell out the name. It's not like you have this massive long URL. It is, what are the acronyms?
W-A-T.
W-A-T.
That's right.
Yeah, Amwatt.
Amwatt.
Yeah,
So,
which is great because you think of business names and sometimes, especially when you have to think about online, right? That online searching to type in. Have you found it? Do you have, what is your domain name? Amwatt Moving and Storage?
it's Amwatt Movers.
Amwatt Movers.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Short.
Yeah.
I like to keep it short because the less clients have to, or a prospective client has to type in, the better off for me. So I like to keep things short, especially the URLs. Anything that is identification for our company, I like to keep it as concise and short as possible.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's a motivation for people.
I like
Short and simple.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So Gloria, please, we've been talking, you and your husband Dean yesterday and even this morning about your company and the growth and the culture that you have within your company. But bring me right back to those college years where you and your husband want to start off. I want to hear the origin story of how the moving company started and what made you even go, oh, I want to get into moving.
Well, it actually fell in our lap. And if at 19 you were to told me that I was going to be the CEO of a moving company, I probably would have cried my eyes out because, how glamorous is that? But hey, I brought glamour into moving, okay? So yeah, when we were in our 20s, my husband he had a pickup truck. And so, if you've been to college, or actually if you're in your 20s and a friend has a pickup truck, everybody's asking, hey man, can you help me move?
Sure.
And so, our friends were like, hey, can I borrow your man with a truck? And so Dean was really good at it. He did not want to make second trips. So he knew how to load the back of that pickup truck. And so it was something that was just kind of reoccurring. And I'm like, dude, you need to charge money for this. I mean, we need to start a business out of this. And so he was like, well, what should we call it? And I was like, a man with a truck. And so that's the AMWAT, a man with a truck in Tallahassee, Florida. And so initially we started just doing college moves, 20-year-old moves. And then it grew out into the community. And then we became, regional in the area. I had a full-time job. I was working for the Attorney General's office.
Oh, wow.
I was a white-collar crime investigator. I was in the intelligence unit. And so I maintained that job because we needed a steady paycheck.
Sure.
And my paycheck floated the business sometimes,
Right.
We decided at some point, I felt like I'm working so many hours and I am making... it's like crime never stops. I mean, it never shuts down. It's just so much.
No,
it doesn't. They don't go to sleep.
right.
It never stops.
It never stops.
Stop. Just give us a break. Everybody take a break. 2-hour break. Let law enforcement, just settle down for a second. But anyhow, I decided that I had enough. And so I spoke to Dean and we were like, let's take the leap of faith. And of course, everybody's like, you're going to lose that big time job, your money, the benefits, everything, working with your husband. You're all going to get a divorce. It's going to be the worst thing you've ever done. And actually, it was...
Well, those statistics are there. The statistics are there.
True. But it was a great leap of faith because the collaboration between Dean and I was just amazing because he had his strengths and I had my strengths.
Right.
So when I came to a man with a truck, I treated it like a case. It was like a case for me. I was evaluating a man with a truck. I was looking for, the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, the threats. And it was like my case. And so
it's amazing because of that analytical viewpoint.
Yes.
You can really fine tune where the mistakes are happening within your moving company.
Yeah.
Than many that don't and just think, oh yeah, it's totally fine, right?
Yeah.
I can only imagine you in the back of a truck being like, you're missing a pad. Where's that one pad?
Yeah.
Go find it.
Yeah. Well, I used to be like that, but
Half roll of tape. What did you use it for? Come on, I don't see this on the bill. Yeah.
No, seriously. I used to be like that, but
Right.
Dean's like,
Please ease up.
you need,
We need employees.
you need to settle down.
Right.
You're scaring the natives. You're like, so, and I was coming from a different type of background. So, and so, I settled down, but, the background that I had really did help the business and its growth, because the strategy, and the long-term planning, and I'm somebody who I investigate, research, collect, analyze, and then project. And so I projected the collapse of the housing market.
Okay.
And I told Dean, I was like, this is not sustainable. What's happening in the country is not sustainable.
We have to get rid of
So-
the 18 houses that we own. Things are going to happen.
And yeah, no. It's like we scale back on expense. We live very well within our means,
Sure.
but we started diversifying.
Right.
I
And then what did that look like for you as an organization?
So as an organization, it was an acquisition. We acquired the biggest moving and storage company, Tallahassee.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
it was right before the recession. It was in 2008. We moved in June 17th of 2008. Okay. And we went from, very, very small.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
expensive-
how many trucks are we owning before 2008?
So we had 3 trucks.
3 trucks.
3 trucks.
Small moving company,
Small.
just kind of
Yeah.
making it work. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And
2008 comes around. You're going to buy now the largest moving company that's in Tallahassee. How many trucks? How many trucks did that move into?
That 10.
Another 10?
That 10. So
Yeah.
we were 13 trucks. Okay.
Like overnight.
Overnight. And took on a $1 million debt,
Sure.
and all these employees,
Sure.
all of it. And
It's like a different game changer.
It was a different game changer, but I'm always up for something.
Right.
I like a challenge.
Now, when that happened, if you think back now, 13 years ago, if I did my math right, I'm like, what year is it again today?
Approximately.
For somewhere around that 10-year mark ago.
In the vicinity.
Yeah. What would you have done differently? What if you reflect back on there, going into this new organization you've just purchased? They have these employees, they have these they already have their systems in place.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the right ones.
Yeah.
But if you looked back at it now, would there have been something that you'd have done differently?
Nope.
No.
Everything happened the way it was supposed to happen.
Being found on the second page of Google is literally like having a billboard in the middle of the desert. Yo mama ain't gonna see it. No one's gonna see it. You're on the second page of Google. No one's gonna call. No one's gonna book. Here is the deal. If your business is not ranking on the top of Google, that means your competitors are going to be stealing your customers every single day. So at Rotate Digital, we don't play any guessing games. We use data-driven SEO strategies to make sure Google finds you first, so that these Google searches turn into your customers, not your competitors' customers. How do we do it? We do it through AI-driven keyword optimization, exclusive blog networks, backlinking strategies, and honestly, the secret stuff, the proprietary lead attribution software. So what do you get as a result? You get not only good marketing, but now you get clarity into what is bringing you more revenue. So if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure your leads find you and not your competition, go ahead and go to rotatedigital.com, schedule a call, and we'll help you take your business to the top of Google.
If you're considering Snowball, just do it.
Snowball creates done-for-you referral programs for moving companies so you can turn happy customers into new revenue without lifting a finger. And the results speak for themselves.
In less than a year, we've collected over 2,000 referrals.
We generated over $200,000 of revenue that cost about $5,000 to do it.
I believe we had 4 or 5 the very first day.
The companies winning with Snowball are the ones that already care about their customers. We just help turn that into new business through human outreach and customer nurturing.
Snowball is part of the arsenal of tools that I recommend to my clients because it works.
What was something that you saw then when you got into that office that they were doing much differently than you were, that you're like, wow, why didn't we think about this when we had 3 trucks?
So actually, when we went in, we were Jim Moran Institute at Florida State University. So this real quick story. I was reading in the newspaper about this woman, Nolia Brandt, and same situation where her husband had this business, and then she decided to go out of, working for somebody else and work with her husband. It was like the same criteria, but it's a different industry. And so she was part of the Jim Moran Institute, Florida State University. And so they help small businesses grow.
Okay.
And so the criteria to become a mentee, I did not meet any of their criteria because I wasn't there yet.
Right.
But I called, I wrote, I lobbied hard to get into that program. And I lobbied so hard for it that they called my office and they were like, hey, you are like, just thinking about it gets me emotional. But my moxie, they loved it. And so they gave me Nolia Brent as a mentor.
Wow.
And so when we were doing this acquisition, I had this very successful woman lead me through the acquisition. And one of the things that they were telling me is like, do not change anything when you get in there. Because I was going in to change things immediately. That would have been my big mistake. Had I not had the mentors, that would have been my big mistake.
Interesting.
Because you go in and you want to make changes. Because
you want to sit down and have that board meeting and be like, we're going to do this and we're going to do that.
There's a new sheriff in town.
That's right. There's a new sheriff in town. Yeah, for sure.
And so that would have been the biggest mistake. And so they know you need to go in there and you need to let that dust settle and you need to see what is working and what is not working. And from that, and they're
Then
like,
you make the small changes.
Yes, give it at least 8 months to a year because you can't be trigger happy because you don't know what you're going to dismantle. And if you dismantle something that is a foundational,
sure,
you know what I'm saying? That could really, really mess you up. So we moved in June 2008 and Tallahassee did not feel the recession yet because we're government and education. So the cash was still flowing, but in November of 2008, the phones weren't working and we would pick them up to see if like, hey, is anybody like, is it working?
Right.
And it hit us hard. But failure was not an option. And I was, I watched the cash flow and everything. And if there was going to be a late payment, one of the things that I always tell people that I mentor is, listen, there is no shame in calling somebody you owe money and saying, hey, I can't pay you on time, but I've got this income coming in. And when I get that, I will pay you. And of course, you've got to keep that commitment because when you call the banks and you call your vendors and you let them know, I know I owe you money, I'm going to be late,
right?
But you will have my money. Because when you don't hear, if somebody owes you money and you don't hear from them, and you call them and you don't hear from them, you're expecting the worst. Like,
oh, for sure. Oh,
where's
yeah.
my money?
That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those storage accounts, you're like, you've been in storage for about 8 years now. What's happening? Yeah. Now you're not answering the phone anymore.
Yeah.
But communication to me is always so key.
Yes.
And I've had this situation, being a young entrepreneur and dealing with banks and everything, is that if there were those bad months, to reach out to my bank manager instead of staring like, behind the desk and crawling underneath is night and day.
Yeah.
Because I had built that relationship with them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest advices that I was told at a young age was, make sure you have a good relationship with your bank.
Yep.
And that bank manager and take them out for lunch, like invite them over, whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
Because when it's raining, you don't want to be asking for an umbrella. Ask for that umbrella when it's sunny and make sure you're set up in the business sense.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, it's, reach out, communicate, like let them know. And
Yes.
a lot of times the banks are going to be like, okay, fine. We understand. You have a long relationship with us already.
Yeah.
We can extend this for a couple months. So
Yeah. And the thing is that the bank is a business as well. And they've got their own debts to pay. They've got their own obligations. So
never thought about it that way. No.
yeah, right. I know you think it's a bank. They have like
That's
endless
right.
gaps,
That's right. I just thought it just grows like underneath.
Yeah. It was, it was a really great experience. In fact, we were able to grow during the recession. One of the things that we did was that we increased our giving back to the community, and it wasn't financial increase, it was sweat equity. So we were watching the news and we were watching the Habitat for Humanity. And so when this lady was giving the keys, and they don't, if the recipient of a house doesn't know that it's their house until they're given the keys. And so they have to qualify and they have to help build houses. And so during the qualification process, they build houses and then suddenly they're like, hey, this is your house. And so they were giving her the house and it was so emotional. And, she had 3 kids. She didn't have a car. And she was moving into this. I'm looking at Daniel. She doesn't even have a car. Who's going to move her? You know what? But a brand new moving truck should pull up to her house, pick up her stuff and take it to her new house. And so I called Habitat and I said, we're moving all of your recipients for free.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
And without knowing.
And then could you be the moving truck that you could be like, move that truck? And then it's like the moving truck goes by, you get this house. Yeah.
House, I loved it. What was interesting is that we did it because we felt that was the right thing to do, to help people out.
Sure.
But what we didn't realize is that there's a board of directors for the Habitat for Humanity. And the board of directors are people that are high-leveled executives, well-connected. So a week later, we get one of the board members and said, hey, we want to use your moving services. We love what you did for Habitat for Humanity, and we want to pay it forward, and we want to utilize your moving services. So by our increasing our giving back to the community, all those people who sit on those boards, all the people who read the news that saw what we were doing, now they were supporting us. And so we were able to grow. I know I get emotional.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love stories like that.
Yeah.
Are you a mover looking to make an impact? Discover Moving Letters AI and join the ML Plus Club today. Elevate your customer engagement with the personal touch of handwritten letters.
If you want to take your company to that next level, it's the only way to subscribe. If you're doing anything but Moving Letters AI, you need to get on it. So it's going to take your business to that next level. You're going to see an increase in that revenue. Let's go.
I highly recommend using this company. They're amazing to work with. They even send you an email on how much work they're producing for you.
Don't miss out. Join the revolution and start making moves that matter.
Put a golden damn ticket in there with Moving Letters AI.
Hi, I'm Mark Hirschi with Salmon's Moving and Storage. Today, I want to talk about tying up training. Why? Because this is Netflix grade quality training. It's not those old videos and VHSs that you got hiding in your office somewhere. It's online, it's easy to use, they're short videos, but they get to the point. My new employees, these guys run through these training programs, there's tests at the end, and they're coming out going, oh, I'm ready to rock. So if you haven't checked out Tying Up Training yet, get a demo done, get on board. Guess what else is there? Online portals for my sales staff. Can you believe it? These guys can learn how to overcome objections and book more leads today. So what are you waiting for? Go check out Tying Up Training today.
So we're very big on giving. So we do some sweat equity, but now we just stroke checks because
That's right.
we're able to. So it's just been a really great experience, and I love it. And my husband and I, we've done a great job, and we have a really great group of employees. We pay really well. We believe in, financial of people, changing their financial status, of, giving them an opportunity to change their lives, to change, where they live, to be able to purchase a home, to be able to purchase a car.
Right.
And so it's really important for us that our employees are doing well financially and health-wise and home-wise.
I love that.
Yeah.
When yesterday we were chatting, you were a woman with a mission.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Because I find it very fascinating, because we talked about it on the podcast in past episodes about this manifesting your goals, right? Get your goals down, write them down, have a daily goal, have a weekly goal, a monthly goal, a yearly goal.
Yeah.
I'm all about the, write down 12 goals, stare at them, and trying to achieve them every month.
Yeah.
And you kind of had a similar fashion.
Yes.
Because of the industry that we're in.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So when we moved into this new facility, and our mentors were like, you should join your industry association. And so it was the Florida
2008.
And this was in 2008. So it was the Florida Movers and Warehousemen Association at the time.
Right.
And so, I'm a young, late 20s, and I'm just like, imagine this, but in your 20s.
Sure. Imagine that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. And you're just so bubbly, and you're like,
Sure.
you're not.
For 32, you still look fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. You haven't walked around the block several times.
Sure.
By this point,
Right.
now I own the block.
Right.
Right. And so you're just like, oh, and so anyhow, so I joined the association.
Sure.
Real active in the association, and I, there was just, it was a very good old boy. It's Florida. It's South. And I felt that it was not very welcoming to women. not in leadership positions.
Right.
And so I wanted to serve on the board. And so we were at a function, and this guy came up to me, and I said, hi, I was introducing myself, and he said, oh, he just joined the association and he's a board member. And I'm like, huh. So I was like, okay, no worries. I went home and I told Dean, I was like, you know what? One day I'm going to be the chair of that association. You just wait and see. So several years ago, I joined the association again. And so I got on the board. I really showed them my skills and what have you. And they were doing nominations for leadership for president of the association. And I was unanimously voted as the first woman to lead Florida's moving industry. And it was unanimous by all the men in the group because they were so impressed with what I was doing. And what I was doing was that I was revising the statute so that we can combat moving brokers. And so that was a platform.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it was a platform. And so that was part of it. It was like becoming the first woman, but also giving me a platform so that I can make the changes to the law because Gloria Pugh Amwatt, but Gloria Pugh, the president of the Professional Movers Association of Florida, you representing the Florida's moving industry, and we want to make these revisions to the statute. So I was able to find a senator and a representative to sponsor the bill. I didn't have a lobbyist. I didn't have an attorney. I was it. I was all of it. And it was signed into law.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I know.
It's I find, and where has that taken you to be part of more associations? Like, has being in that role helped also
yes,
more women in the industry? Like, do you find that they're coming up to you more going, wow, Gloria, like you inspire me, I kind of want to be in your situation.
Oh, that's awesome.
I want to take your seat.
Yeah, right. I love it. No, I think it's, yes, absolutely. I believe I'm still the president, and I'm going to serve probably for another year or two, but I am going to leave because I believe that associations or just any organization, except of course for Amwatt, that you need to change leadership because you need that fresh, ideas and what have you.
Agree as well.
So not necessarily in my industry, but I do have a lot of young women, being that we're at Florida State University and Florida A&M and Tallahassee State College. I do have a lot of young women that do reach out to me and, asking for mentoring and what have you. And I absolutely love it because I think that there's so much potential out there. There's so much growth, and women are just such strong characters, and, their approach to business is completely different than a man's. It's just different. We're built differently. We're wired differently. So I enjoy it. But being part of the association did lead for other opportunities for me. I am the expert for the moving industry for U.S. News.
Oh,
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you don't get that in Canada. No.
yeah. So we've it's been a really good run for Dean and I.
That's
What's up, guys? Austin Yarbrough here, and this is your invitation to the Movers and Shakers event, April 28th, April 29th. I'm putting in the work right now so you can have the best event of your life. It's gonna be life-changing, it's gonna be amazing, and I'm just gonna be there to help, and you're gonna join the new family. This next family is here for you, and you're gonna be here for them. April 28th, April 29th, get your tickets, let's go.
Now we've had several couples on the podcast, and we've talked to the little bit of the dynamics of husband and wife teams. What works, what doesn't.
Yeah.
How have you both been able to balance that work-life relationship? And I want to know some funny stories that have happened as well too.
Well, it's funny today. It's funny today.
Might not be until Dean listens to this later, yeah.
But when it happened, it wasn't funny. So, I came into a man with a truck, and my husband, he believes in me. He's my biggest advocate. Anything, I come up with the craziest things. He's like, all right, let's do it. We had Tibetan monks coming to Tallahassee, and I told Dean, oh my God, we're going to have the Tibetan monks. I'm going to reach out to them. They're going to bless these warehouses because we just had the dead body exhibit and we received it. So I thought there was like bad juju.
Love this.
And I was like, we're going to go to where they're at. We're going to feed them. We're going to talk to them. We're going to just, chat it up with them. And then we're going to ask them to come bless the warehouses. And, most people be like,
all right. Someone help Gloria out here. Yeah.
So that's what we did. And they came and blessed the warehouses. It was awesome.
That's so
So we started Man with a Truck. And so I am very, I go for it. And I'm
Sure.
very
You're
structured
driven.
and
Yeah.
organized and everything. And so the mistake that we made as a husband and wife team is that we did not delineate the responsibilities. So we were in each other's lanes. And so there was a day where apparently I really got into his lane
Gotcha.
and, his patience runneth out.
Right?
So, yeah, so it was a big, not
What
good
what advice, and based on that example, what advice would you give those that are in an industry where it is a husband and wife team?
You have to define the roles. You have to define the roles. So these are your responsibilities and these are my responsibilities. And unless I invite you in, do not come into my lane. Just don't do it. And so that has worked famously for us. Another thing that is biblical for us is that we do not discuss work at home. Our home is our, sanctuary. Now, a win, something positive, yes.
Sure.
But if it's something negative or something that can get heated where there's a difference in opinion, we don't discuss it in the house. We either do it at the office or we go out, we take a walk, we go out to eat, not to my favorite place because I don't want to bad you to it.
Right. Tibetan monks, we need you back here at this restaurant. Needs a little bit of your work. Yeah.
So, poor restaurant. They see us coming like, no,
Not you two again.
Yeah. So
You're out of dishware.
Yeah, it's just really important that you define your roles and that you just don't step into each other's way because you're husband and wife. And, when you have such comfort with each other and intimacy, I mean, think about it. You can be you love and you hurt your spouse because that's what we do.
Yeah.
It's, because we're so intimate. It's like there's no beginning or ending to you. And so we're very careful about that. Yeah.
I love it.
And it works.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that advice. Thank you, Gloria, for coming on Movified.
Thank
This was a pleasure.
You are so
an absolute
kind.
pleasure.
Honor.
And thank you for sporting a little pin. You got the Stay Movified pin on there. I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
For all those that are listening and that are looking to move to Tallahassee.
Amwatt Moving, Warehousing, Storage, agent for Wheaton Worldwide Moving, 850-877-7131. We are your professional movers, and we move you with a glamorous touch.
I love it. I love it. I love it. An elevator pitch without me even asking. It's like, there's a camera, there's a mic. Sign me up. All right, let's do this. Oh, that's so funny. For all those that are listening, please make sure you check out on us with YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Follow us, share, like it, comment. You got questions for Gloria? Please put it in the comments. We'd love to answer them. We'd love to be able to have that connection. If you'd like to connect with Gloria, you'll see it in the description below. And until next time, stay Movified.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to another episode of Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmon's Moving and Storage, located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. And we are flying all the way back over to the East Coast, down into Florida. We have